Welcome to Bishop Aquatics. Today we're going to talk about our plans and our growing plans. What we're doing is building a live food station. Now, we've showed you in the past that we have 4 batches of baby brine shrimp running all the time. We use the Zest breeder that we bought from Aquarium Co-op, and we need 4 of them because we want to feed twice a day. We usually feed 3 containers to feed every fish in our system, and then we use 1 container either in the morning or the evening and just feed the fry. So every guppy gets fed baby brine shrimp every day, and then the fry get fed baby brine shrimp twice a day. But we want to expand past this. We showed you our video for the prepared food, but now we want to show you our plans for live food. We want to only feed our fish live food and the prepared foods that we showed you, the spirina, and actually we would like to just get to where we just feed spirina, and then everything else we feed is our live foods. But the first thing we're doing is we're taking the brine shrimp. After we siphon it off, feed the shrimp, there's a leftover amount of water. It consists of 3 things. There's a top layer that builds right here. These are the hatched eggs that float to the top. On the bottom, there'll be a layer of unhatched eggs. These eggs will pretty much hatch out, but they're not going to hatch out in the time frame we're giving. And then in the middle section, you've got your live brine shrimp that you're siphoning off. Now, after you siphon off the live baby newly hatched brine shrimp, most of these newly unhatched eggs kind of stick to the side. So what you have is you have a volume of water about this much that we typically just throw out on the ground. But now what we're doing is we're taking that water and we're taking it out to a newly created set of tubs. We took our 27-gallon tubs down and we built them outside. And this is the first 2 we've set up. One with baby brine shrimp and one with Daphnia. Now we're taking the container of water, we're draining it all down to about 1 inch from the unhatched eggs. We don't want all these unhatched eggs. That's what's right here. We just let the water evaporate a little bit. We take a sponge and just sponge those out. I mean, it doesn't hurt anything, but we don't want inches of unhatched eggs. But in 3 days' time, we've taken, I think, 3 containers, maybe 4 containers, and just drained the excess water off. And you see today what we have. But this is our plans, guys. We're growing our own foods. Today we'll talk about the baby brine shrimp that we want to grow into adult shrimp that go ahead and reproduce themselves. We want Daphnia the same way. We want to be able to harvest live Daphnia and put it in the tanks. We also already currently run a live food system of scuds. I'll put scuds as a separate system because that's been running for over 2 years in our tanks. So I'll do a video separately of our scud program because that's already in place. But we also have 3 different worms that we're breeding in. Banana worms, I think a white worm, and there's another worm, brindle worm. So we've got those in. We're starting the cultivating of those, and we're going to see how that works out. Let me show you. Now this is after 4 days, and we're changing it out, and we're putting sponge filters in. So we're putting in sponge filters. This is the Daphnia tank, of course. And I just had the air hose just loose. But look at when the sunshine hits. Look at the brine shrimp. Now let me refresh you what we have here. We have 3 days of the leftover hatchery shrimp, stuff that I would actually just throw on the ground, because it's mostly unhatched eggs. We've already removed the baby brine shrimp, the newly hatched. So this is stuff that we'd be just throwing out. So we threw it in the tub, and this is 3 days later. We have just masses of shrimp. I'm going to try to close in here and get you a close-up look here, guys. Look at that. I just think this is really cool. So what can we do at this point? Okay, at this point, we could take a net in here and swirl it out and remove, you know, bigger brine shrimp and go ahead and refeed that. And that might be something we do. But I also want to grow them out to adult size and let one tank become, you know, a self-sustaining tank where the adults hatch. You know, well, they don't hatch the shrimp when they're in the adult size and the weather's correct, it's warm. They basically have their babies live born. They only go to eggs when they're ready to go to hibernation. Say the cold season's coming up in Salt Lake, the water gets too cold, the adult shrimp die, and they lay off all their eggs. I just think this is really cool. But I think this is actually too much to bring into adulthood. I'm not sure. We're experimenting with this. But I'm going to put in a sponge filter to take care of the nitrates, to help with the nitrates, because I've been watching online tutorials on this live brine shrimp, and one of the things they say that causes crashes is just typical nitrate crashes. So we're going to put a sponge filter in here. We're going to put the air on low. That's another thing I just got a few tips on. Don't have the air just racing through because it crashes the babies out. So we're going to turn the air down lower, put a sponge filter in, and let's see where we go from here. Like I said, this is day 3 and 4. I put them in, yeah, so this is day 3 and 4, and we just have massive, just swarms. I mean, it's hard to show in the sun, but we just have swarms of brine in here. And this is just leftover, thrown away stuff. So you can see the. Anyway, I'm excited about this, guys. This is a feeding that we're really excited about. Let me show you over here what we're doing with the Daphnia tank. We bought the seeds. I'm sorry. We bought the eggs from Carolina Biological Supply out of North Carolina, and we just basically threw them on top of the water and mixed them up some, but it seems like most of them are floating still. And maybe they've hatched, I don't know, they say 3 to 4 days. This has been in like 2. And again, all I've taken is just the recycled water from the tanks. We took, actually the 5 tubs we took down, we took some of the water and just threw it in the tank. So this is all recycled water. It's got a lot of mum on the bottom. It's in the direct sunlight. We have a light set up 24 hours a day. So we're trying to grow green water, both in the saltwater tank and in the freshwater tank. We want green water. So not only do we have the direct sunlight coming down on it, we have a 24-hour light. And so this is 1 tub, 2 tubs, but I think we're going to go and put all 5 tubs up as feeding tubs, because we clearly want to move towards building a live food station for our fish. So we showed you the video on the dry foods and the prepared foods that we feed. But right now what we're gearing up, going past the baby brine shrimp, going into juvenile brine shrimp, adult brine shrimp, Daphnia, and we also have a selection we've bought, we haven't even talked about this yet, of 3 varieties of worms that we want to grow, cultivate, and feed our fish worms. And we're even thinking about growing the spirulina algae ourselves that we feed to the brine shrimp, that we feed the Daphnia. So we want to go a complete circle here, guys. We want to grow the algae that feeds the food, the bait, the food that feeds the fish, take the fish waste, recycle that, water our garden, and eat home organic food. So we want to take this from algae, go through the whole life cycle, take it all the way through till we actually consume the food. So anyway, guys, that's what we're doing here. That's our plans. I'm sure we're gonna have failures. I hope we have some successes, but we're gonna walk you through and show you what we're doing. But right now, we've got brine shrimp growing up outside in Phoenix, Arizona.